Hello, public speaking students. Welcome to Public Speaking 101. I'm your instructor, Eric Almaroth. As I begin every quarter in this course, I always survey my students and ask them how many have public speaking anxiety. And generally, over half the class raises their hand. Well, that's when I like to assure them, as I'm trying to assure you right now, that by the time this class is over, each and every one of you will be completely and totally terrified. That's just a joke. Because the truth is, by the end of this quarter, most, if not all, students enjoy public speaking and look forward to the opportunity to be in that situation to gain the success they have experienced in this course. So welcome to Public Speaking 101. Welcome to Public Speaking 101 Opening Quiz Review. This opening quiz is how I review some of the main concepts in our course and give students a preview of what to expect in this course. Number one, no definitions of communication will ever logically contend communication may not purely exist at all. So let's have a look at the communication continuum, which is the half circle below. Discussions in communication theory sometimes question if there is ever pure, accurate understanding as ideas pass from one person's mind to another. So to the left of the continuum represents this perspective. In looking at the diagram below, a speaker encodes, which means creates or formulates a message, and voices it, sending it out into the air. A listener, as that sound of the voice enters their ears, decodes the message, reacts, then encodes, which means creates their own message, and responds with feedback for the speaker to once again decode in an ongoing cycle. But the question remains, did they truly understand each other? And how can we even know for sure? There's no question there is such thing as inaccurate communication or miscommunication at times. Because of these questions, there are some hardliners who exist on the extreme left of the continuum, contending pure communication may not really even exist. On the other side of the continuum, there are those who see communication in all behavior, and even historical relics of behavior, believing communication always exists. The archaeologist digging through ruins of ancient civilizations, discovering how people cooked and ate, receives information from rocks and inanimate objects. A nervous novice speaker saying he's very confident and experienced, who is communicating the opposite through his vocal tone, facial expressions, and body language, leads some theorists to the conclusion, despite intent, everything communicates something. Reality is generally somewhere between the two abstract extremes on a continuum, but because of the existence of those few who embrace the left side of the continuum, number one is false. I suppose most of us have shared deep thoughts and feelings with important others in our lives, and have the sense we've legitimately connected and been completely understood, and vice versa, having experienced a real communion. I feel I've certainly experienced this and believe it should be understood as already a main priority in our lives, what we inherently, often consciously, and also subconsciously, are seeking. This then puts me a bit to the right of center on the continuum, definitely rejecting the extreme left position, but uncertain about the extreme right position. 2, personal opinions cannot be rationally considered wrong by others. A pine tree, a person. A person perceives the pine tree. The pine tree represents the objective realm. What's inside the person's mind is the subjective realm. The pine tree represents reality. What's inside the person's mind represents their perception of that reality. On the left, the tree represents the world of fact. What is? Over on the right, what's inside the person's mind is their opinion of what is. What if I think it's an oak tree, that tree over there with the pine cones on it? Can you tell me I'm wrong? Yes, you can. And you'd be correct. What if I think it's a bear? The point is, this over here on the left and this inside the person's mind on the right are not the same thing. Subjective perception is like a photo of reality, and a photo and the object in the photo are not the same thing. So do not use the same words to refer to them. It's not my reality, it's my perception of reality. And leave room for the idea, though your perception may often be accurate, there is the possibility it may not be accurate. Logic improves the likelihood your perceptions will be accurate. And logic is a unit in this course we will be delving into. So number 2 is false. As we move on to another side of number 2, this must also be mentioned regarding personal opinions not being rationally considered wrong by others. Yes, number 2 is false when it comes to facts and external reality, but there is an important exception. If you are making value judgments and expressing preferences or feelings, you are the final and ultimate authority on these matters. There can generally be no rational disagreement with, I love that tree. That tree is beautiful. That is my favorite tree. That's an ugly tree. So I ask, what is your favorite color? You say, blue. I say, no, it's not. Seems a bit silly, right? So, number 2 is sometimes true when we're dealing with the realm of feelings, preferences, value judgments. 3, most people would rather face death than participate in public speaking. Surveys show public speaking is the number 1 most named fear in people, and they list this as first more often than they list death as first. It does not mean people would rather kill themselves than speak in public. So number 3 is false. Number 4, stories in speeches are often tedious, boring, pointless, and uninformative. Well, it is my aim to prove to you stories which drive speeches are more interesting and effective than information and fact-based speeches without stories. It's alive! It's alive! I can't beat him. So in general, and especially within the context of this course, number 4 is false. 5, spoken and written words are what communication is all about. Be wary of all, none, always, or never in any true-false tests, as they are seldom true. Communication does involve spoken and written words. It also involves body language, sometimes sign language, gestures, setting, message, intent, and context. Communication is a broad and intricate topic involving more than just spoken and written words. So number 5 is false. 6, elected politicians and comedians are often ineffective public speakers. Seldom are people who make their living speaking to the public or have been elected to public office weak or ineffective public speakers. Comedians and entertainers are often gifted and highly talented public communicators. Comedians, content-wise, are also often the real truth-tellers in societies. So number 6 is false. 7, in serious speech settings, speakers must be careful not to overdo the injection of humor into their topic and message. There certainly are academic and serious business or community settings where humor could be overdone, but generally some humor can be applied effectively in all settings with a positive effect. In the context of this course, in public speaking, Clean, appropriate, relevant, positive humor is encouraged, accepted, and rewarded. Even if your effort at humor bombs, as it often does in my case, shut up. It still tends to lift the audience, and it offers the opportunity to get a laugh as you call attention to the reaction or apply a related segue. See, not everybody gets the reaction they're looking for when they're trying to be funny. And some things are genuinely funny. So number 7 is false. 8. The most endearing quality of any skilled conversationalist is the ability to express ideas logically, clearly, and with conviction. The most endearing quality anyone can offer in conversation is listening. Boom. There you have it. To really listen to someone is an enduring and important gift. When someone is listening to you, honor it with concision and brevity, meaning being brief. Efficiently making your point and then listening again. 2 ears, 1 mouth. We're designed to listen at least twice as much as we talk. I guess that proves that. And there is something very pleasant and reassuring about a closed mouth. So number 8 is false. Number 9, it is easier to listen than to talk. Listening requires a more challenging mental effort than does talking. To access your own thoughts with words is much easier than decoding another's words to discern their meaning, especially when we're mostly preoccupied in our thoughts with what we would like to say next. You may have heard unintelligent people easily rambling on about what they think. Appreciate how you are challenging another's mind when you are speaking. Be respectful, be brief. Once again, brevity. Number 9 is false. Number 10, the main problem with novice speakers is they tend to talk too loud and too slow. No. Novice speakers mostly talk too soft and or too fast. This should become apparent in the next few weeks, though I'm sure some of you will speak perfectly. So number 10 is false. 11, the ideal way to communicate is to speak clearly, rationally, and throw in some humor. Though these are all positive speaking qualities, there is no ideal way to speak. Each person is unique, and when you are sincere and authentically being you, there are infinite possibilities for how you can uniquely and successfully express yourself. There may be some ideal ways to organize and structure a speech for an occasion. There also may be some ineffective aspects to your communication efforts, which might be identified to improve your speaking goals. But in terms of delivery, there is not just one right way to do it. That being said, there are usually many areas where one can improve their communication efforts. Number 11 is false. Number 12, most audiences are open to changing their viewpoints when presented with reasonable facts and unbiased information. As a believer in logic, I am rather idealistic about this and wish it were true. Most audiences are emotionally attached to their ideas and paradigms. Paradigms translates as worldview. This is particularly true of elderly audiences, but generally true of all audiences. College students tend to be more open-minded to new facts and information. In today's U.S. political climate, new information and facts appear to have very little influence in altering one's preconceived viewpoints or notions. So number 12 is false. Number 13, most mainstream TV news and opinion media try to hook viewers with facts and logical reasoning. Viewers and audiences in general are mostly hooked by what appeals to them emotionally, so news outlets more often broadcast heated, controversial, and emotionally charged topics to secure higher ratings. As previously mentioned, as a proponent of logic, I am rather idealistic about the power of logic and wish the question was true. We also seem to be living in an era where we have less faith in what we call facts, particularly as they are presented by mainstream and alternative media. And there is much disagreement about facts among America's diverse political population. The global warming issue provides a good example. Number 13 is false. Number 14, persuasive and informative speeches are essentially the same thing. No, they are not. Persuasive content is designed to convince one to shift their viewpoint. Informative expository content is designed to teach, inform, or illuminate. In this course, you will deliver an expository, informative speech and a persuasive speech. The expository speech will be lower key and more of a teaching exercise to inform. The persuasive speech will also contain facts, but will generally be more emotionally charged and evoke some passionate issues and ideas. Number 14 is false. Number 15, professional mainstream journalism media spreads just as much fake news as social media posts and troll farms. Fact checkers would disagree. Though there seems to be an epidemic of misinformation and disinformation these days, misinformation is when information is just wrong. Disinformation is when it's intentionally wrong. In even some mainstream media outlets, we see this. Mainstream media, more often than internet media, has to answer for it, though, or experience credibility issues and criticism. Often mainstream media outlets will broadcast apologies and retractions for errors in stories. Credibility still matters in this environment. You will not find this in extremist or anonymous media or troll farm disinformation because their intent is to create disequilibrium and endorse a perspective, seldom to spread truth or facts, and there is little to no accountability and never a retraction. So number 15 is false. So this has been the Public Speaking 101 Opening Quiz Review. And all questions were false. Mostly. The end. Thank you for participating in the Opening Quiz Review. I hope you gained some ideas from it and you have a clearer idea of what to expect in Public Speaking 101. Look forward to seeing you again soon.